Hello, welcome back to the Good, Bad and Stupid News. It's Tuesday the 20th of August. It's not been a slow news day today, so I've got loads to get through today. Remember, it's also on podcast on the Good, Bad and Stupid News.podbean.com. If you prefer to listen to my sultry tones instead of looking at my sulking face. I'm going to doing it early today because I've got lots to do, so unlike this gentleman, I've got plenty to do outside of this, because this doesn't make me any money, nor does my other thing I've got to do, to be fair. But the first guy I'm going to talk about is Prince Harry's in the news again, because Elton John has come out and said that leave Prince Harry alone. I paid for his flights to jet around to Nice and wherever else he's been. Prince Harry's been criticised for jetting around the world whilst being an eco-warrior, whilst telling everybody else that you got to do something about your carbon footprint and whatever else. Elton John's come out to defend him, saying I paid for him, so leave him alone. Oh, so that's all right then, Elton. Thank God for that. Good job he knew. Okay. Let's leave Prince Harry alone, because Elton John has said that he's come out of his pocket. It's not about who's come out of his pocket, is it? It's about the fact that he's claiming to be or talking to people about ecological disaster while jetting around on private jets all around the world. I don't care. I said death being an eco-warrior and be the fucking jet set, because it's a great life. And if you got that, it's very hard for you to stand there as an eco-warrior and giving it large to everybody else about what everybody else should be doing. So, and Elton John's fucking fine one to talk, is he? Mr. Lavish, chuck money at anything. So, but yeah, it's nice if you can get it. But what does it say here when he did a barefoot speech when he said he even used the pages of Vogue magazine to call for action to save the planet. This is Prince Harry. Vogue magazine, so is he aiming at wealthy people who read the Vogue magazine, who also will be jetting around in there? So who's he talking to through the Vogue magazine? I'm not sure. But he's also saying, he did a Q&A interview where he said, we are the frog in the water and it's already been brought to the boil, which is, I don't know, a bit of a shit analogy if you ask me, but we, the earth, is a frog in the water and we're already being brought to boil. And then he goes and jumps on a fucking private jet to France or wherever he's been. There was a picture, I think it must be in another newspaper, where the crisscross of his jet in about 2 months was like all over Europe or whatever, which I'm not knocking it. Critics who have accused him of hypocrisy include Diana's former protection officer, Ken Wharf, who said he shouldn't preach while jetting around the world in a private plane. That's what I said. The trip to France, easily reached by train, is estimated to have generated a carbon footprint of 3 tonnes. I don't know my carbon footprints but that sounds like a lot, 3 tonnes, doesn't it? So if he's going to be in that position to talk about it, then he should have just jumped on the fucking train, shouldn't he? Or should have just gone, I'm going to get the train, thanks for the offer, Elton. I'm going to get the train, mate. I'm going to jump on the Eurostar. It's just as comfy. It's probably just as quick. But no, they want to live it up, so sorry. Not listening to you. Not until you start taking action yourselves. Don't put your shoes back on and stop preaching. Again, some people don't like to be lectured on climate change by those who don't follow their own advice. So there you go. Learn your lesson. I've spoke about this now 3 or 4 times, and still you're in the news about the same thing. So he's not listening to my videos, are you? You're not watching Prince Harry. From one prince being slightly naughty to another prince, a little bit worse, I think, or we don't know yet. But Prince Andrew is in the news because of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He was just in the news yesterday, wasn't he? Because that picture of him coming over, Jeffrey Epstein coming out of a building, and there's a video of like, and Prince Harry at the door, like little staring out the door like that, like it's a fucking weird little video. He's like hiding behind the door while some other girl goes past and gives this little creepy little wave. It just looks all wrong. I mean, there's a picture of him at the door, like, you know, sneaking, like his eyes going left and right, making sure nobody sees him. So it just looks like he's up to no good. You can just see it in the video, you know. Why is he hiding that I'm in Jeffrey Epstein's house, you know? Because people will put two and two together, that's why. And now it's all coming back. I'm not saying he's done anything wrong, but I'm saying that he's hanging around with all the wrong people. And unless you're fucking dumb, you know you're hanging around with the wrong people. So what are you getting out of it? You've got to be getting something out of it, because I'm sure he wasn't. Is he that good? Is he that good company? Or is it not him that's the company? You know, it's pretty fucking pretty obvious. Like I said, nothing untoward might have gone on. It might have just been, might be people of appropriate age, but it's still procurement and whatever else, isn't it? I mean, who knows what went down? But he's got, the heat is on. The heat is on, and he's going to have to come out from behind the door and tell people, because well, people will be trying to cover it up left, right and centre, but they, that other girl, what's her name, Maxwell's daughter, she's fucking gonna cop it, and she's probably got all the knowledge, so let's see how long she stays above ground. Or she's in hiding, or she'll have to spill the beans to save herself, so who knows what's going to come out in that. But either heads will roll, or the minions will cop it, and the big wigs will get away with it, as often is the case. So we'll soon see. It seems like a murky world anyway. Televiewer, well, I'll move on to something a little bit more light-hearted perhaps. Teleview, oh, what's this one? Let's do this one first. A teenager smuggled into the country in a suitcase, slightly light-hearted, has written a heartfelt letter to the people that saved his life, addressed to Dear England. I'm writing a letter to tell you what a difference you have made in my life. You have saved my life. You have given me a family. When I come from the UK, when I woke up in the hospital, I was very scared and panicked. I don't know where I am, what happened to me, and all over my body was hurt. I could only use my neck and fingers. There's no more of the letter there, but basically he's with a foster family now, and he's like passed his exams, and he's an inspiration, and he's obviously relishing his opportunity because he managed to get in a suitcase. Unfortunately, the guy that smuggled it in has gone to prison, so shame for him, because he's done a good turn, but hopefully the guy will sort him out when he gets older. But yeah, how did he get in a suitcase? I haven't even read most of it, but he's come through the airport or whatever. But the guy did him a good turn there, didn't he? But he's happy, and his foster family are really proud, so good for him. If you can get in, I suppose if you're in a bad situation anywhere in the world, you want to get to fucking safety. So I'm all for anybody that makes it. Televiewers face having to sit through even more adverts on mainstream channels after the government agreed to review the current cap. ITV and Channel 4 are limited to showing between 7 and 12 minutes of ads an hour, depending on the time of day. But they're in talks with the Department of Culture, Media and Sport to lift the cap. Well, that's all right, but people will just fuck off to other channels, won't they? Where there's no ads, or where you got a choice to not have ads, or Netflix and all that sort of thing. So you're only just cutting your own throat really with that, aren't you? Because it's already a pain in the arse anyway. You watch a film on, what's it called? Film 4. It's about, if you check a film, I've checked it. If you check a film, how long a film is, and then watch it on Film 4, which I like, by the way. Sometimes I like the ad breaks because it gives me opportunity to go and do something else. But if a film's 2.5 hours on Film 4, you look at it, it's normally only an hour and 45 minutes, so they're sticking like about 40 minutes of adverts in there. But I just get up. I don't watch the adverts anyway, so I get up and go and do something else when the adverts come on, or turn them off, or put YouTube on, so nobody actually fucking watches them anyway. Well, I don't. Just reminded me when in Australia, when if it gets like that, they just had ridiculous breaks of ads. They even had an ad when the credits rolled on a TV program. No. You know, in England, we usually have an advert in the middle of the show. Of a half an hour show, you'd have an advert in the middle section. They'd have an advert once the credits rolled at the end. Just before the credits rolled, they'd have an advert. Then they come off the advert, the credits would roll. The credits for the next program would start. And the program would start. And then they'd have another advert. So before anything's even happened, you've had 2 advert breaks at the end and at the beginning of the other one. But nothing's actually... it's a nightmare. It's a real wind-up. So if it gets like that, well, that's the end of people watching that, and they'll just watch it on catch-up or on the catch-up TVs. What's this? Balls. The headline is "Balls I used the wrong cream and burnt a hole in my crotch." And this is a guy who was going to meet a female friend and decided to give himself a bit of grooming and put hair remover cream on his groin. It's a bit presumptuous, isn't it? This is a first date, I think. A new female friend, and he's like doing his hair, doing everything. Let's get all the hair off my nuts. You never know. But she might like hairs on nuts. He might have done the opposite. Might put her off by having a kind of like Advark's face, or like a mole or something like that. So anyway, he's put this thing called Veet. I'll tell the name of it. VEET, hair removal. Burns the skin off his nuts. So I don't know if he's lost his hair as well. The skin's gone, the hair's gone, so he's halfway there. But he's in hospital now. Missed his date. He's in hospital, and he's left with blistering wounds, and he's looking at nearly 3 weeks in there, so he must have like fucking done himself a right one. He must be sticking to the bed sheets and everything. So think once, think twice. Don't put hair removal cream on your testicles. If you was thinking about it like I've thought about it in the past. No, I'm joking. Pung arm of the law. Cops mistake a van's fish whiff for a corpse. Well, kind of was when it was a dead fish, so it was a corpse. So they were right, but it was a legal corpse, unless it was fished illegally. A fuming fish dealer is causing a stink after the Finn Blue Line wrecked her whiffy van. Wrong. So they bust into the... Well, they could have just waited for the... Was the van legal and all that? They bust into the back of the van. Not bust the door right open. There's a picture, so you can't see it, podcast people. There's a bust the van open, thinking there's a dead body in there. It's a bit presumptuous. This is Solihull, near Birmingham, where I'm from. It cost her $5,000 to fix it. Yeah, they do all that, the police, and they don't pay. I can tell you 1 or 2 stories about that as well. They don't cough up any money. They do it and go, we were doing our job, and then you have to pay it. They were called regarding strong smells emaciating from the van. Officers forced entry because of welfare concerns. I mean, they said there was a swarm of flies in front and all assumed the body was inside the van. Well, how long's it fucking been in there? Was it like... What was you doing with it? Gonna eat it? You just left it in there to rot, or just forgot about it or whatever. So it's possible it was like high stakes smelling. If you're going to leave it, fucking hell, how do you drive your van around like that? You're not going to get anybody waxing their nuts to come and see you if your van stinks like that, I tell you. Well, I don't know. Still, they shouldn't just break in and wreck the van on the chance that something might be. They could have just at the police, they could have contacted the The police find you with like a second. They check the number plate. Who owns the van? Okay, so let's contact them and say what's what. Did they even do that? Doesn't sound like it. Got to tell people how to do their jobs properly. All back to front, isn't it? Tony Slattery is getting a bidding war. Remember Tony Slattery? I used to like him. He was this guy from Have I Got News For You? No. What was he from? Whose Line Is It Anyway? Improv dude. That's him now. Bit older, but a bit more weathered, but he looks a bit it's still character. But anyway, he's got a bidding war going on for his biography after he's been gone out of the system for 20 years. He's come back to Edinburgh this year. He's got a show there and whatever, a Q&A show. But he has struggled after his career nosedived after years of mental illness and crippling addictions to cocaine and alcohol. It's kind of standard with the industry, and it's a shame because it was really good. A good comedian and whatever, but he's got a book coming out about that 20 years, so that will redeem himself anyway. He's probably got a lot to say. He said a toxicologist once examined his cocaine stash and revealed he was snorting, wait for it, shit. The 59-year-old said, Tony, you're taking shit. It's feces. When I said shit, I thought he meant shit cocaine, but he's actually, they're saying it's feces, mainly human feces and rat feces and crushed glass. What the fuck? That's when I thought, maybe it's not such a good idea. And he was once bitten by a rat and taken to the hospital thinking he had bubonic plague. Probably off the cocaine as well by the sounds of it, rather than the rats. Fucking, it beggars belief that people would put that kind of stuff. Why would you put that in if you're trying to sell something? It's obviously like, people are going, is it addictive, the smell of shit? I don't think so. It goes to show, you never know what you're going to get, do you? But he must have been really getting he must have had a really bad deal if he's getting ones with human feces in it. It's hardly like going to sell your product, is it, if you're dishing that kind of stuff out. There you go. Anyway, let's move on. Bird brains will be up for the big. Psycho seagulls have been reported. People in Nottingham, 65 miles from the sea, dialed 999 after a seagull nicked his chips. What do you expect the police to do about that? Every misplaced call 999 has the potential to delay us responding to genuine emergencies like rotten fish in the back of vans. We got business to do like that than fucking deal with calls about seagulls. Well, surely he didn't turn up to the incident. I know people who've been burgled and the police don't turn up to the incident, so you can't say, oh, a seagull phone call has wasted genuine police time. I'm pretty sure that the person goes, well, this is pathetic, put the phone down, so it's wasted, 5 seconds? There's a nationwide seagull problem. And there's a 2 million and with predictions that a further 2 million gulls could be descending on the UK. Many are arguing for immediate action. 2 million gulls. This is going to be part of Brexit as well. Immigration to stop the seagulls coming in. I don't know. Got to learn to live with them, ain't you? It's food waste. Don't give them food. Then they can't. Don't drop food on the floor. Don't litter, bug. Don't litter. Chuck stuff on the floor. And they won't have nothing to eat then. They'll go elsewhere. Or they'll start fishing again or whatever they do. I told you before there was a seagull on my roof and it was eating the seagull baby was on the roof and the seagull mum come down and was feeding it half of an ice cream they picked up off whatever, and it's dropped in. The baby's, otherwise it would have been feeding it worms or whatever else. He's feeding it fucking strawberry ice cream and half a cone. And the baby was loving it. Probably like pain in the arse then for being on a sugar high and nosing, In fact, there was squawking a lot after that. But they shouldn't be eating that shit, should they? Surely it's not good for them. That's probably why they're flying low, because they're so fat. You know, they can't get off the ground now, can they? Right, a motoring company boss swerved a driving ban after successfully blaming his 100-mile-an-hour speed on his wife's diarrhea. Okay, that's... I think she would rather you have took the fine, because he swerved it. He did get away with it. I was going to say, you didn't get away with it, and you've, embarrassed your wife, but he actually got away with his driving ban after successfully blaming his 100-mile-an-hour speed on his wife's diarrhea. In normal circumstances, he would have been handed a 12-month ban, but he was downgraded to speeding after officers heard about her bowel condition and she badly needed the toilet. I mean, that's the only time you're going to be allowed to use that excuse, but he could have just stopped the boat in the middle of the sea, and let her just turn a blind eye while she did a business over the side. Depending on how many people was in the boat, I suppose, but they could have said that. They could have said, but I don't know, he got away with it. So she got diverculitis. Anyway, he got away with it. So if you're ever speeding, just say you've got the shits. Sounds like a feasible plan, a feasible thing. They'll be like, well, we've had a lot of these diarrhea, gastroenteritis problems recently on the roads. I've got a story like that myself, but I haven't got time to talk about it, so maybe another time. Man with one leg walks 9,000 miles. I first read the headline, I thought, he hasn't walked it, has he? He's popped it, if anything. A man with one leg, but then after reading it, he actually had a prosthetic leg on. He's doing it to raise money. Walked 9,000 miles from Venezuela to Ushuaia on the southern tip of Argentina with a backpack, £30 in his pocket, and an aluminium prosthesis that enabled him to negotiate the rugged road. Doesn't say why or what he did it for, so it's more about the headline on that one. Here's another one that's just about the headline. Prince Harry's ex-girlfriend Cressida Bonos has got engaged to someone with the same name. I was like, what? Prince Harry? There's somebody else called Prince Harry. She said, no, the actress will marry Harry Wentworth Stanley. Is that news? Is that news? That another guy's called Harry. She met him, his name's Harry. Well, there you go. I'm only saying it just because it's pathetic. And that's what this is all about, highlighting pathetic things as well as the good stuff. Jihadi Jack, talked about him yesterday, has moaned that he is just a person who made a stupid mistake. He's Jihadi Jack saying, I goofed. He's kind of playing it down a little bit there, isn't it, when he went off to join the terror cult. And now he's obviously had his citizenship withdrawn and he's been dumped on Canada. Although they don't probably know what to do with him. He's left here, hasn't he, and all his family here, so it probably should be dealt with here. That's what I said yesterday, but he's saying he's not a murderer. I've never tortured anyone. I'm just a person who made a stupid mistake. Well, of course you're saying that now because you've been caught, so nobody knows that, do they? Unfortunately, you could have done all those things because that's what they do. What was you doing? Making the tea. Just can't believe how people think it's so shit that they go to some lengths to do that. Obviously, how can you not see so far ahead that that's going to come right back on you? Anyway, I'm no expert in terror trials and terrorists, so let's crack on to something else. Rocker Corey Taylor says people who claim heavy metal music and video games are to blame for mass shootings are idiots. The Slipknot frontman hit back at some politicians linked to recent spate of gun violence in the USA to popular culture. Well, it's bollocks because there's there's heavy metal music and rock music or whatever and video games all over the world in lots and lots and lots of countries where they're not mass shooting people. It's a direct link to people having access to guns and mental health issues. if there's guns everywhere, people are going to get shot. That's 100%. How can you blame a fucking video game? Video games have been around for years. It's all just shoot 'em up, innit? So you're meant to just get rid of all, I'll tell you what, get rid of all films, get rid of video games, get rid of music, keep guns. There you go. That's the way. And then we'll be like, what, Taliban? Afghanistan? Let's use your head, people. And Alaska, where are we going? What we got here? Brad Pitt has defended new movie Once Upon a... Here we go. Brad Pitt has defended new movie Once Upon a Time in Hollywood from critics who say it's far too violent. The 55-year-old says director Quentin Tarantino audience expect intense scenes. Of course they do. If you're watching a Tarantino film, what the fuck do you expect? I know when I put a Tarantino film on, I expect you can't watch it and go, oh, fucking hell. You didn't have to do all that. You know that that's what it's all about. So choose to watch it or choose not to watch it, isn't it? You watch a horror film, you watch a romantic comedy. The choice is yours, isn't it? That's the freedom of choice. But you can't just start slagging off Tarantino for doing what he does best. And it obviously lends itself to the thing before. Should we ban Tarantino for making films because it's creating people to go out and do the same thing? No. Take guns off the streets. Leave them in the films. That's the best way forward. Become an actor if you want to use one. Or you got them shooting ranges or shooting places. Let them use them only in them places. They can go in there, shoot fucking shit up, put it back, and they've got it out of the system then, haven't they? A dozy fugitive was caught after using his own police wanted appeal to warn people, if you see me, keep your mouth shut. So he was basically found after that little interaction, and he's come back and backfired because the police knew where he was. So then what to go, if you're on the run, stay on the run. Keep incognito, don't use social media. Sales of roast dinners for one soared to 12 million last year, with single men over 55 driving the trend. How do they know that? That's like, are they people like watching, making a note of these single, roast dinner for one, sad bastard, make a note. Is this people clocking up how many people, how do they actually know? The roast dinners for one have been, how did they get the figures? It's alright, having a roast dinner anyway. They might not be, they might just have had a fucking argument. Or his missus might be at yoga or something like that. Or might not like roast dinners, doesn't mean he's like single and sad. Stupid, that is. Stupid study. Right. I had a roast dinner for one on Sunday, so you can see where I'm coming from here. A man dubbed Mr. Tinder for being the most lusted after on the app has found love the old-fashioned way. He's got 14,600 Tinder swipe rights in 2 years. You know, he must have been, is it like John Travolta? 14,600, he's got a pick of the mix there, hasn't he? So his new girlfriend want to be careful if he's got that much lusting going on for him. They probably know him all around town now. That's that guy off Tinder. 14,000 women in the same town are all going, recognise that guy. So he's obviously a good looking dude. So he's not going to be having a, what's it called, roast dinner for one anytime soon, is he? Right, I'm going to finish up now. I did have some, you see my eyes going crazy here. I'm trying to find something that I can't find it now. So what I was going to finish on. What was I going to finish on? Oh, bollocks. Okay, I'm going to finish up on this then. A mechanic used an official MOT form to call a customer a proper cunt. Sorry about the language, but this is the expletive appears on a government website underneath reasons why a smart car failed in annual inspection. It officially failed the MOT because the bulb that illuminates the registration plate was not working. In the advisory underneath, the employee added, "The driver looks like a proper cunt." Notes are written by the MOT garage, so I don't know what is obviously wound somebody up there. You can't just say somebody looks like that, can you? Yeah, well, there you go. This goes to show you got first impressions. You might have been pissing the guy off for some reason, and he's like thought he would like leave you a little uppercut without you knowing in the way on your MOT form, but it's come to light now. So I'll get back down there and have a word if I was you. Unless you are a proper. Anyway, let's move on. We're going to say goodbye. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. See you next time. See you tomorrow. Bye.